Donkey Kong was a launch title of sorts for the Super Game Boy back in 1994. At first glance, this appears to be a handheld version of the arcade game, with Mario on his quest to save Pauline from Donkey Kong. However, after clearing the 4 arcade levels, a much deeper experience is presented. Donkey Kong is actually a puzzle platformer, taking elements from Donkey Kong, Super Mario Bros., and sprinkles in plenty of puzzle elements. The game is broken into 9 different worlds, and you play through levels sequentially. At first, these just take the Donkey Kong formula and run with it. Mario has to locate a key on the screen and then bring it to the door to complete the level. Every 4th stage is a boss battle, where you have to face the obstacles posed by Donkey Kong in an attempt to again rescue Pauline. Upon defeat, you chase Donkey Kong through 3 more levels before meeting up with him yet again. The cycle repeats for a surprisingly long time, totaling a whopping 101 levels. Quite the feat for a Game Boy game. Of course, it takes a lot more than a high level count for a game to be good. Donkey Kong succeeds in nearly every way imaginable. First, the controls. At first, they feel like the arcade original, but soon you'll discover Mario is significantly more maneuverable and can change momentum mid-air. Next, he has a ton of different jumps. In fact, hardcore fans of Mario 64 should feel right at home, with Mario performing an extra high jump when jumping immediately after changing directions. He can also do a handstand, again turning into a high jump when needed. While I was hoping for a more traditional Mario feel, it becomes second nature rather quickly. I also applaud Nintendo for keeping the feel of the arcade game and augmenting it with new mechanics, rather than abandoning the formula altogether. In addition to some superb controls are some terrific levels. These are simple at first, but some of them can become quite complex. Temporary platforms can be placed anywhere on the map, and the game will let you fail as often as you need to figure out the solution. Well, until the timer runs out. Some levels had me scratching my head for quite a while before realizing I could use temporary platforms and switches to manipulate the patterns of enemies, which of course introduces a whole new level of depth to the gameplay. This depth, combined with the controls, is where the fun comes from. I knew the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong was well regarded, but I never really knew why. Donkey Kong does a great job introducing new concepts at just the right pace, never letting you feel overwhelmed, while also never letting you feel bored. It's a brilliantly designed little game with the perfect balance of puzzles, platforming, and challenge as the adventure unfolds. Next, the game is fairly generous with extra lives. These can be found in some levels and respawn when you die, and in bonus games. Scattered throughout each level are 3 items, which I assume are Pauline's umbrella, purse, and hat. Collecting all 3 before reaching the exit will unlock a minigame. These make it quite easy to rack up a decent life count and help make the trial and error gameplay an enjoyable challenge rather than a frustrating experience. Because, yeah, you are going to die a lot. In the beginning, it's from not knowing how far down Mario can fall. Later, it will be inconsistent enemies causing your deaths. Some enemies won't harm you at all, others can be jumped on, and others kill you immediately. It's a bit annoying, but again, mitigated by the generous life system. On top of just being an absolute blast to play, Donkey Kong is also technically impressive. The game takes full advantage of the Super Game Boy, with a custom border mimicking the original arcade cabinet, each stage having a custom color palette rather than the same 4 shades of color over and over, and even takes advantage of the Super Game Boy's ability to display more than 4 colors on screen at once. The animations are smooth, the sprites are detailed, and overall, Donkey Kong is a vibrant looking game. Things don't stop there either. When played on a Super Game Boy, Pauline actually yells out "help" using the Super Nintendo sound hardware, which again is an awesome touch. Even cooler than all of these bells and whistles is how Donkey Kong seamlessly blends this with the original sound effects of the arcade game. After selecting a level, the appropriate jingle plays. Same goes for the completion of a stage. The sound effects are accurate as well, with the climbing and jumping sounds ripped straight from 1981 and are a great piece of nostalgia. Combine all of this with a terrific 8-bit soundtrack and you have an audio experience equal to the rest of the game. My only complaint is really just a nitpick. Again, the inconsistencies between enemy behavior can be annoying. From being benign to insta-kills, and the game never makes it obvious which do what. Some might find the game repetitive as well, though the game features a battery backup and doesn't force you through the entire game in a single sitting. And that is Donkey Kong. The controls aren't perfect, but faithful to the source and definitely responsive. The graphics are excellent, the sound presentation captures the awesome 80s arcade scene and blends it perfectly with 90s chiptunes, and the level design is truly outstanding. While it doesn't rank up there with the Sonics and Marios of the world, Donkey Kong is most definitely excellent. 4 out of 5.